Principle-based living. So what is that, and what does it really mean, and what is it about? That's what we're going to talk about on today's video. Principle-based living is based on the concept or the idea that we live in a world that is based on principles or laws, which means there are laws that govern the world in which we live. And most of us know that there are natural laws such as gravity that exist and operate in the world. So if I hold a set of keys and I let go of the keys, they're going to fall. We all know and understand that. Now, we may not know and understand how gravity works or why it works, but it does. And we know that when we abide by that law or that principle, then we have certain outcomes. And when we don't follow that principle, there are other outcomes. For example, if I believe that I can float, and so I decide to step off a cliff, well, I'm not going to float, I'm going to fall. So we understand that there are those physical laws, but most of us don't really think about or understand that there are also laws in this world that govern things like happiness and relationships and success. And the thing is, if we don't understand those laws or those principles, then it's kind of like we're shooting in the dark. We're trying to figure out life through trial and error. But if we understand that these principles are consistent, then that helps us to learn better and to learn quicker and to make choices that will give us more of the outcomes in life that we want. So what is it that we do want in life? Well, I believe that all of us are after the same thing, which is happiness. And if you think about it, is there anything in your life that you have ever done for no reason? Now, when you first think about that, you may say, well, yeah, I do things all the time for no reason. But is that true? And here's one of those things that is part of the principles that govern this life, is that we have thoughts all of the time, and those thoughts then create beliefs, and those beliefs drive our behavior, and then those behaviors create our outcomes. So what if I have a thought that there are lots of things in my life that I do for no reason, but that thought isn't true? What if everything I do it for a reason? Would it be important to know and understand that? Would it maybe change the way I think about life, and would it maybe change some of the things that I do? Here's how important it is that our beliefs are based on truth or on principles. If we go back to the time of Copernicus, at that time they believed that the Earth was the center of the universe and that all of the planets rotated around the Earth. And at that time they were trying to create a calendar based upon the rotation of the Earth and the planets. And every time they would come up with a calendar, it would turn out to be incorrect. Now, why would that be? Well, it's because the foundational premise or the assumption upon which they were trying to create the calendar was based upon the idea that the Earth was the center of the universe and all of the planets rotated around the Earth. As long as they had that belief, which was incorrect, they would never come up with a correct calendar. So it wasn't until they realized that the sun is the center of the universe and everything rotates around the sun that they were able to come up with a calendar that is accurate and reliable. The same thing happens to us in our life. What if I believe, so my goal is, and maybe I don't even know this because that's at the subconscious part of my brain, but my goal is I want to be happy, and everything that I do, I'm doing it because I want to be happy, but I'm not really even aware of that. And so I don't even know why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. I'm just on autopilot most of the day. So first of all, I need to turn my brain on and become aware of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. 90% of our day, we're operating out of the subconscious part of our brain, which is the brain that functions without us really being aware of it. It's the thing that helps us to go throughout our daily activities without really thinking about how to do those things, like how to shower in the morning, how to get dressed, how to brush your teeth, how to open a door, how to stand up, how to write your name. Most of those things are things that you at one time had to think about how to do, but as you did them over and over and over, they became habitual. They became connected to muscle memory, and they went into the subconscious part of our brain. So now the subconscious part of our brain can take care of that, and we don't have to consciously be aware of what we're doing or why we're doing it. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, in some ways it's a good thing because it allows us to do other things while the subconscious part of our brain is taking care of what it needs to do. But the downside of that is when we're on autopilot, oftentimes we have learned things that we don't even really know why we learned them, and we never really questioned whether what we learned is correct or not. Let's say that, again, my goal is to be happy, and I'm just a little kid. And when my mom gets upset at me, I don't feel very happy. But when she's pleased with me, then I feel good, and I like that. And so that influences me to be happy. So one day we have a rule in our house that, I'm supposed to clean up my toys after I'm done with them and not leave them scattered around. But I'd been playing with my toys, I got busy with something else, and I leave them scattered around. And my mom walks into my room and sees the mess. And so she gets upset at me and says, "Randy, you know what the rule is. You're supposed to pick up your toys and put them away when you're finished with them. So when you don't do that, you make me so angry." Now, I hear the tone of voice coming from my mom. I look at her, I can see her facial expressions, and I also hear her telling me that she's angry with me and that I made her angry because I didn't clean up my toys or put them away. In my brain now I'm thinking, oh, I just made my mom mad. But is that the truth? Did I make my mom mad, or did she choose to be mad? So from a young age, I may begin to believe, okay, I can make my mom mad. And then maybe one day I clean up my toys and my mom comes in and says, "Randy, you make me so happy. You cleaned up your toys. You did what I asked you to do. And now I think I can make my mom happy." Those are just two beliefs. And let's say when my mom is mad at me, I'm unhappy. When my mom is happy with me, then I'm happy. And I want to be happy. So that means my beliefs are going to drive my behaviors. I believe that I can make my mom mad, and I believe I can make my mom happy. So I'm going to do things to try to make her happy. But what if I can't make her happy? What if she's just in a bad mood, or she's really stressed about something else in her life, and it doesn't matter what I do, I can't make her happy? Instead of realizing that that's a choice that my mom is making, I'm going to begin to think there's something wrong with me because I can't make her happy. And so that's just a simple explanation of how, if I don't understand the truth or the principle or the laws that govern the world in which we live, I may spend my time and effort trying to control things that I have no control over. So here's just a few of the basic foundational principles the principle-based living is all about. And if we can understand these, then it helps us know better how to respond to things that happen in life and to respond in ways that are going to give us the outcomes that we want. Well, the first thing to understand is that each one of us is accountable for our life. So our life is the way that it is because of the circumstances in our life, because of the way that we respond to those things and the choices that we make. So we're accountable for our life. Nobody can take that from us, and we can't give it away to anybody else. The second principle is the principle of choice. And if we connect choice with happiness, it's important to know that happiness is a choice, that I can choose to be happy in any circumstance or any situation. Now, if I understand that, and I understand accountability, then if I'm unhappy, I realize that I'm the one that's accountable for my life. So if I'm unhappy, then I'm the one that needs to take care of that and not put that expectation on someone else And then if I understand that in any circumstance or situation, I get to choose a few things. I get to choose what I think, I get to choose how I feel, and I get to choose what I do. And so if my goal is to be happy, well, I can choose to be happy in any circumstance or any situation. Nobody can take happiness away from me. Again, if I understand that, that changes everything. Because instead of trying to control or change those things that I don't like, that I have no control over, I put the focus on me, and I recognize that happiness is a choice. So I need to look at my thoughts and my beliefs and see what I can change about me so that I can change the meaning of that situation and find happiness in the present situation that I'm in. And the third principle is the principle of control. And what that says is that there are only 3 things that we have control over in this life. We have control over our conscious thoughts, we have control over our emotions, and we have control over our behaviors. Everything else is just influence. So whenever we feel out of control in our life, or when there are things that we don't like that are outside of us, we spend a lot of time and effort trying to control other people, trying to control other things that we have no control over, instead of focusing on ourselves and changing the things that we actually do have control over. So principle-based living is really about empowering you to live a life of happiness, to live a life of success and fulfillment. And that empowerment comes from recognizing, first of all, that there are laws that govern the world in which we live. Secondly, understanding what those laws and principles are. And then thirdly, making sure that our thoughts and behaviors are in alignment with those laws or principles. And as we do that, as you do that in your life, I can promise you that you will find the happiness, the success, the fulfillment in your life that you're seeking. Thanks for watching today. If you'd like to know more about principle-based living and who we are and what we're doing, visit our website at principlebasedliving.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're watching this on LinkedIn, make sure and follow me here.